one thing you got to do here, well, one thing you don't have to do, but one thing I'm going to do on this 3900 swap is I'm going to replace the VVT cam with the LNJ cam from an 09 Equinox 3.4 liter. And in order to do that, we got to get this front timing cover off. So we got bolt here, got to remove this pulley here, a couple hoses, and it looks like there's about 8 10mm bolts holding this on. Also, to replace the camshaft, we got to take off the intake, the valve covers, we got to pull the push rods. So let's go ahead and let's get started on that, guys. Once you have your front cover off, this is what the timing assembly looks like. You can see just how far out it sticks from the block. LZ9 pieces are snugged up tight. So this is your VVT assembly here. What it does is these bolts here are connected to the camshaft. There's a spring out here, and it gets an electrical signal from the timing cover. And what it does is it uses oil pressure on this little pin right here, and this little center section right here pushes in and out. See that there? It's spring loaded on the inside, which is controlled by oil pressure. And what it does is this whole piece here, which is connected to the camshaft, will move independently from this sprocket gear on the outside here. And that's what allows your VVT action. This camshaft is really small. It probably doesn't really provide that much more additional power, maybe 5 horsepower over a non-VVT cam. It's mostly for emissions. There's no EGR on these cars, so use the VVT during startup and during cruise to help light off the catalytic converters, and then to kind of get better gas mileage out on the highway. But that's your VVT setup right there. And we're going to be eliminating this whole thing here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going with an Equinox timing chain, Equinox cam, but everything else will be the same, and it's a direct bolt in. Equinox cam is tiny as well, just like this one, but it's a non-VVT, which opens up other options for us. We don't have to worry about this whole thing, controlling it, having to advance it or retard it. We'll just install the Equinox cam straight up, degree it in, make sure it's good, and then we'll be good to go on this. But we still have to get the upper half of the engine torn down, so let's go ahead and get started with that. Continuing to make progress here, you can see that I've got the valve covers off, upper intake manifold off, middle intake or lower intake manifold off, valve covers off, and I've got the push rods out. And the push rods are different lengths, so the intake and the exhaust are a different length. So just go ahead, keep them separate. Put them in a Ziploc baggie or something, mark them so you know which is which. So now what I got to do is I got to remove my lifter valley here, my lifter trays, and take the lifters out. Then I can take this timing assembly off, this timing gear assembly off, and then we can pull the VVT cam out. All right. Let's do it. Alrighty, so I got my lifter trays out and my lifters out. And you have to take out this distributor, what was a distributor drive gear, but now it's just a drive gear on here for the oil pump coming off the camshaft. So that's got to be removed, 15mm bolt. The lifter valley trays with the lifters in them, they're 10mm. And once that's off, what we can do is we can come on down here and we can take off our front timing chain in the VVT assembly. That's held on by these 3 T30 bolts right here. And then there's this plate that holds in the camshaft, and these are also T30, so there's one on each side. And then once you get that off, then you can take the camshaft out. And as you can see, I've already got it about halfway out. So now we can just remove the rest of it here, and we'll have the whole thing apart here. And then with this out, we can go ahead and we can throw the LNJ camshaft in, which is just a direct bolt in. And we're good to go on that. So let's go ahead and get this LNJ cam installed. And here we have the Equinox cam ready to go in. I'm going to go ahead and put some assembly lube on this just to keep everything from rusting when it's sitting in there. But oil's a little bit too thin, so what I'm going to do is put a little bit of assembly lube on here and slide the cam on in. And there we have it installed. Pretty simple. We'll go ahead, we'll reinstall this torque plate here, this anti-rotation plate, I guess you can call it, to keep it from sliding in and out of the block. Tighten that down, torque them down, and then we're going to install the timing chain. And there we have it, all reassembled, ready to go. I was even able to use the factory timing dampener spring-loaded adjuster that comes on the VVT cam. And these are ARP bolts. And I go over the part numbers in another video, easy peasy camshaft upgrade. If I remember to put them in the description for this video, I'll do that. But these are ARP bolts. This timing gear is for an 09 Equinox cam, 09 Equinox 3.4 liter V6. And that's it. Got to do a couple more things. Pull the oil pan off. Possibly drill out for an oil drain return for a turbo. Just prep that and get that ready perhaps. And it's pretty much ready to go back together other than that. So more coming on this swap, so stay tuned.